All right, welcome to another episode of Mundelein Minute. It is season 3, episode, I think, 14 or 15.
Whatever's in the corner.
Cool. We're happy you're here. My name is Eric Schwenk. I'm a trustee in the Village of Mundelein, and...
I am Kara. I'm also a trustee in the Village of Mundelein. I guess I have a last name. Lambert.
Yep, Kara Lambert. Yep, that's you. And this is Mundelein Minute. We filmed this in my house. These are my cameras. This is my basement. And
Cats over there.
There's cats around. There's a bird. There's kids. My wife's here. So there's also no taxpayer dollars in the filming and distribution of this podcast.
I keep looking over there because you have the agenda over there.
I do have the agenda.
It probably looks weird for people that are watching us. I'm like,
you're like, what's that? So we're going to talk about the village board meeting from this past Monday, March 13th. And let's dive into it. So we did the call to order and attendance.
I wasn't there.
Kara wasn't there. She had a family emergency last minute.
My son, who's 6, did something at gymnastics. The story changes every time. And rolled his ankle and his whole foot was black. And I was like, ooh, we should take him in. So we sat in the ER for the whole night.
Yeah, because I think I texted you at 9:30 or
we got
10.
home at 10:30.
Yeah,
with a 6-year-old is a little rough.
Yeah. And you're still waiting. And I was like, oh.
I finally at one point was like, do you think they could just take the x-rays and we could get a result the next day?
Yeah, right.
He's fine.
Unless they need to
I'm going to give him some Motrin and his foot's attached still. It's okay. So he's fine. Anyways, so I wasn't there.
Yeah. And everybody was like, Kara's not here. Is she having a baby?
Yeah. I got a message online too that was like, congratulations. And I was like,
nope.
No baby.
Still no baby. Check back for the next episode. She'll probably still be pregnant. That would be almost 4 weeks overdue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's do it.
Awesome.
First day of spring is March 21st, 22nd. What is it?
Okay. Holding
March
out.
21st. Maybe it's holding out for spring.
Yeah. I mean, we missed Pi Day, so
maybe the election.
Maybe the election. No stress holding it back or anything.
No, it's fine.
Yep. All right, so we did the approval of minutes. There was public commentary. There was none. Surprisingly, no public commentary.
Interesting.
We went into presentations and awards, and we did heard from Healthy Hedges from the Lake County Forest Preserve, which was a very interesting presentation, I may say. It was about eradicating the European buckthorn that is very invasive. And I actually spoke about it that I spent several days and probably 3 or 4 dump trucks full of buckthorn that had taken over my backyard when I purchased this house. Oh. And it was a horribly hot summer afternoon for the weekend that we did this, and it was just miserable. And this was even my amazing father-in-law has an attachment. It looks like he basically built a big spade that looks like a big arrow that it attaches to his bobcat, and he goes under the buckthorn.
Because you have to get deep.
Yep, and he just pulls it out of the ground with that, but you still have to handle that plant.
It's super hard to get rid of.
Mm-hmm.
There is a group in Loch Lomond that's working to eradicate it as well. It's super hard to get rid of. It's really costly to get rid of. Also, if you leave any of it, it will grow back.
Yeah.
And birds eat the berries and then poop.
What they did to my car was horrible.
Correct.
Yep. I don't miss that part of it.
It is hard. This is a hard one to do.
Yes. And the Forest Preserve has lots of resources on their website. So if you have buckthorn, and they even have little signs that you can put up about eradicating invasive species or in progress.
So the beautification committee, did Jenny talk about this at all?
No.
They're going to work on a project. I don't know how to, whatever. The committee is going to work on a project outside Fire Station 1 to eradicate buckthorn and then some other invasives like golden seal, goldenrod, something.
Yep.
I don't know. So it is, but yeah. Anyways, I'm kind of bummed I missed that.
Yeah. So then they talked about, they actually had some flyers and pamphlets about how to eradicate it. And talked about that. Those are on the website as well for the Forest Preserve. And then they also talked about some of the healthy species, the healthy hedges that they call them. And they have a pamphlet that you can download that kind of gets into that. And we have a blank slate of a front yard and, our backyard too right now. So we're looking for the next couple of weeks to start planting some.
Well, you got a while.
Yeah. Shh. Next couple of weeks. Come on.
Bro, it's March.
I know. I'm trying to be hopeful here.
March 15th in the last.
But we beware the Ides of March.
Oh, maybe it'll be born today.
Oh, that's great.
Stab you right in the back.
But we want to plant some monarch stuff and bee friendly stuff to get the pollinators out.
I mean, we've got resources for that.
We sure do. So my front yard.
I got some people for you can talk to.
It's going to be an example. We're going to make it happen. Next up, we heard from Flaherty and Collins, and I was trying to say it right because there was actually a little thing in the board meeting. I think Kirsten tried to say it right, and the guy was like, "You got it!" So
he got excited about it.
Yeah. But we don't need to talk about that. It was just a small little development that took up the rest of Plaza Circle with 165 or 200 apartments and 15
Eric is
to
being facetious right now.
20 townhomes and some retail
so
space and finishing off Plaza Circle.
Let's talk about that for just a second.
Sure.
Because the vision has changed over the last 15 years plus.
The market has changed.
What?
I know.
You don't say.
I know.
What has changed that market, Trustee Schwenk?
Rentals are popular.
Was there something that happened in 2020 that changed the retail space?
Yeah, COVID was huge. That changed the retail space. And
got it.
And you know, the mayor excuse me, the mayor actually talked about it during the State of the Village address that our commercial space in downtown Mundelein is quite lacking. And I know there's a lot of fingers that get pointed at the old Village Hall property.
Yeah. And
why it's still vacant. And I can't answer that.
Because guess what? The village doesn't own it.
The village doesn't own it. Right. It's owned by a private
person,
a private
business
owner,
entity.
Entity that gets to lease it out, and they lease it to who they would like to lease it to, right?
On their terms.
On their terms, at their price. So
correct.
I'm a real estate broker. I have never shown that property and don't know what the rents are for that property. But maybe that's why it's still vacant.
Perhaps.
But we are adding several hundred apartments and townhomes to Plaza Circle, which is going to be a lot of residents, and we do need retail space. So in this concept presentation, that's what I pushed back on, was I want retail space on the ground floor. It doesn't have to be all retail space. I understand they want to put their amenity space on the ground floor.
Yeah, of course.
But they propose 3,000 to 5,000 square feet on a separate building away from their development. That's up towards Holly.
Okay. And
that's fine. I think that's a good draw in, for that space, for that corner. I still think that those future residents need some space on Plaza Circle. There's now going to be 2 residential developments right there. And the closest thing is the shopping center with the grocery store, and 2 breweries. So we need
beer and food, man. I don't know. Sounds okay.
We need some more food. We need some more options. We need more places for people to gather, for community. And,
coffee.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Right.
I don't know what else. As we both sit here
drinking our coffee. Correct. So that was my pushback. There is a large amount of money associated with this project through the TIF.
Do you want to talk about this?
Financing? Sure. So
you and I hemmed and hawed about this, crunched numbers, back of the napkin, pulled up real numbers.
Talked to staff about numbers.
Talked to staff because both of us were like, holy hell, I'm putting my coffee cup over here. That's a big friggin' number.
Yeah. So I'd have to go back and look. It was 16 or 19 million. 16 million.
Yep.
And there is roughly 15 to 16 years left, I think, on that TIF. And this property right now brings in $0 in tax revenue.
Correct.
When this development comes out of the ground, we're looking at $1.5 to $2.5 million for the Plaza Circle developments
per year
in taxes.
And that's that doesn't include what they'll pay the schools, because even though it's in a TIF, the school will get money
for the number of residents that attend the school. So Cardinal Square
also, impact fees will go to the school as well.
Impact fees are included in the agreement. Yep, that's totally separate.
Yep.
But the property taxes for the head count, not for just the property count, but for the head count. So for comparison, Cardinal Square, the main building, has 5 students that attend
75.
District 75. So District 75 gets paid for those 5 units.
Right.
So these developments generate a lot of TIF increment that can be used to spur development. That's what this is for.
That's what a TIF is designed for.
Yep. And this TIF also purchased the land that is now being sold to this developer, and that those bonds will be paid by the TIF.
Correct.
So it's something that, we're looking at the future financing, knowing how many years are left and how much money this increment can bring in based on similar
And
size.
this will pay back the bonds.
Yep.
And also leave us with a little bit left over.
That's the hope.
So you and I talked about this before the vote, before the meeting, about this is probably the most conservative approach to finance development, to help finance development.
And we actually heard from some consultants last year that talked about
and we were nervous during that presentation, right? We said, oh, we're getting this presentation because something's going to come to us where they're going to want to bond out TIF.
Yeah.
Or they're going to want to do something that's more risky and more lucrative for a developer. And we were like, gah. And in fact, that didn't happen.
That didn't happen.
And in other municipalities, it's important to note that that is happening. Where they're so hungry for development and they want these developers to come that they are being extremely aggressive with how they help fund it.
Correct.
And here, developers want to build here.
Yep.
And we can still have the control of being conservative with how we incentivize development.
Yes.
End of rant.
End of rant. And I'm going to add on that in the term sheet, it's not a redevelopment agreement yet. We'll get there. In this term sheet, there is some clawback, and there's also some penalties.
Pretty aggressive timelines.
Pretty aggressive timelines.
Like, you better get your stuff together and move.
And they're aggressive penalties that you lose TIF funds over the life of the project if you don't meet these penalties.
Yeah. So this agreement, although it's big and people are going to be nervous about development and change and all this stuff, pretty, dare I say, beneficial to the town.
I would agree. I would agree. In the long run, this will be a very beneficial project to Mundelein.
Okay, so that we could talk about TIF and financing and all, well, I couldn't, but he could for a long time. If you have questions, email us, call us, yell at us on the street. Hey, I have questions. We are happy to answer them to the best of our abilities.
Yeah.
So, especially on big projects like this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
All right. So we'll move on. There were no hearings under mayor's report. We had a mayoral proclamation recognizing Trustee Cabachuela. And Sol read a very touching letter, and she has resigned from the board. She's taking a position as a deputy chief overseeing election process. And so that there's absolutely zero conflicts here. She has resigned as a trustee to take on that position. She also resigned from the high school to take on this role with the county clerk's office. So
congrats to her. But
it's congrats to her, but it's sad to see her leave. And, as she even mentioned in her letter, she was the first Latina elected to the village board.
Yeah.
And her insights and her views will be missed.
Yes. And the mayor will oh my gosh.
So the mayor will appoint.
Thank you.
The mayor appoints, the board confirms the appointment.
Right.
So it's not just a blanket appointment from the mayor of whoever he chooses. The board gets to vote on that. And he has said that he will wait until after the election. Personally, I don't like that. I would prefer it not be tied to the election whatsoever. Weird. And just
there is only one. We talked about there is only one board meeting, but still, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah. So he's waiting until after the election to make his appointment, and he has 60 days by ordinance to do that.
So there we go.
There we are.
What's the first board meeting after the election?
I'd have to look at the calendar.
Hold on.
You look at that. I'll go next.
April 10th.
April 10th. Okay, perfect.
So there you go.
And
okay.
Fast. So we did a commission appointment for the Economic Development Commission and appointed Laurel Lowry. So congratulations to the new commissioner.
Yep.
The mayor's Monarch Pledge was renewed.
Praise.
Which is pretty awesome.
Good.
And then a purchase agreement for 210 East Holly Street, which is an old Citgo gas station.
You want to talk about this one?
Go.
I'm kind of annoyed that I wasn't at this meeting. So Theo, when you're old enough and watching this, we'll talk about why I missed this board meeting. Kids. So this is the old gas station that's sitting on Holly that's been vacant for like ever,
Mm-hmm.
as long as I can remember. It's been had various signs for sale. It's been at auction. It's gone here and there.
Tax sale.
The village administrator did a great job negotiating this. Not going to deny it. It's come before us in executive session 3 times probably
Mm-hmm.
at various price points. He got them down to the lowest price point we've seen, incredibly low. However, opinion of one. I don't like the fact of us buying land to ease developers. I just don't like it. Like, as a board, we should be setting zoning, granting variances, probably not purchasing land. So although I understand why it was done, I probably would have voted no against it. No, I probably would have voted no on it just because in principle it doesn't sit well with me. End of rant. That being said, it probably was a good strategic purchase.
Yep.
So so there we go.
So even in executive session when this came up, I was borderline. I was not for it nor really against it, and I kind of hated the idea of it.
In principle.
Yes.
Right.
I do not like buying land for the village to hold for multiple reasons. One, we lose all the tax revenue on it. The minute we own it, it goes to 0 taxes for any taxing body. It's tax exempt. And
Correct.
that just doesn't, I hate that. Buying gas stations is tricky, dangerous business. Even though the tanks were removed, you still have to get a.
Well, and we know the land. This one had already had the first level of soil
It
work
had
done.
a phase 1 done, and now we're waiting for what's called an NFR, no further remediation letter from the Illinois EPA. So once that's issued, we'll be in a better place, and that's the sale is contingent upon that. So that's important to know.
Right.
This one, I was okay with, only because it was coming out of current fiscal year funds, not reserves. So we had the money to do this at its extremely small purchase price compared to other village properties that have been purchased.
Yes.
We weren't bonding out money. We weren't taking from reserves. This is additional revenue that we will have at the end of the fiscal year, and it's forecasted so. And this was able to be managed in there. It's the definition of blight in the community.
Oh, it's terrible. I mean, I drive it every day when I take Theo to
And-
school, and he always comments, "Mom, that building is so ugly." I know.
I know, right? So this is exactly what TIF districts are for, is taking down blighted land and redeveloping it. And we have that opportunity here at a reasonably cheap price. It's contiguous to other village-owned properties, so it can be packaged for sale.
Right.
And
into something cool.
and we are running out of land in the downtown to develop on.
And there may be already people that are interested in it. I mean, there's like a lot of positives for it. We'll see.
Yeah.
And I will say that I and you there's a spreadsheet of all the properties that we've owned.
Mm-hmm.
We keep very close tabs on that. And that spreadsheet has dwindled down over the last 4 years.
Yeah, so some of them are
So-
things we're going to have to own forever, like some retention or detention ponds, or
Right.
wastewater treatment facilities and other village-owned
Like,
assets,
easements,
right?
like, that
Easements,
are-
things like that.
Yeah.
The streets you drive on. So we're not necessarily in the business of selling all of the village-owned properties.
Like getting rid of the stuff that's saleable, excess,
yeah.
developable, that kind of thing. So whatever.
So
this passed, right?
Since Kara wasn't there, it passed unanimously. But
Thanks,
yeah.
Theo.
So we'll be moving forward and purchasing that property, and the plans to demolish it.
Yeah, and at least in the meantime, it'll like look better down Holly.
Correct. So moving on to the trustee reports. The first one was the Flaherty Collins term sheet. So everything that we talked about earlier. So we made a motion to move forward with the sale of lots 2, 4, and 5 around Village Hall Plaza Circle,
Whatever.
around that area, and get that development started. Again, there's still steps, redevelopment agreements, and timelines that need to be brought in front of the board,
But the
nailed
ball
down
is
a
on the
bit more.
field.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. It's in motion.
Yeah.
Public Works, we did a change order for some Western Slope drain improvement for
Are we
$45,000.
done with this yet?
Nope.
How much more is left, man?
This is some warranty work.
I guess that's a good idea to protect your investment.
There you go. So IGA Fremont Township, this was a intergovernmental agreement for the township to do some of the plowing, or was it vice versa? I forget, but yeah, the township is doing the plowing, right. And the village is paying $6,000 a year so that we're not having to be in places. And
I like these agreements.
Keeps the trucks in one place so that they're not having to drive all over the place to do extra work.
Yes, I like these agreements.
Yeah. Yep. Finance Committee, 2023 Prevailing Wage Act. So by state statute, we have to adopt an ordinance with our prevailing wage rates set in them. The county issued new rates for 2023. We adopted them.
Per the law.
Per the law. Yep. Which, this is just so odd in my opinion. This is government being redundant. This is the redundant Department of Redundancy.
Yes.
At its greatest.
Yeah.
If the state says it, then why do we have to adopt it?
And why does the county set, like, every branch of government's involved? What?
Correct. Right. If the state just set the rates, then let's move on.
There it is. Let's move on. Yeah.
Yeah. But no. And then the governing body bill approval of $846,493.18, which is right in the middle of where it normally is. Yep. Public safety. We repealed some chapters of the municipal code.
Oh my God. How happy was Tim Wilson that he got to talk about public safety?
He was happy, but didn't go into any detail, which is very un-Tim Wilson. Come on, Tim, where are you at?
I'm disappointed.
But these were some parts of the municipal code that we no longer use.
So get rid of them.
And we repealed those sections.
Did the Chiefs give an update?
Well, first the Foreign Fire Insurance Board motion, and that passed. And then the Chiefs gave an update, and it was only
Chief Monahan.
Chief Monahan, yep. The Citizens Police is coming up March 29th. It's a 6-week course, several hours.
Do it.
A week.
You will learn so much. We did when I was first elected. I did something similar, like where we went one night, few nights, and I learned so much. And I was like, oh my God, I was so thankful for our
kind of blows your mind.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's coming up here, and you can find more information out on the village website.
Did he talk about coffee with a cop?
He did not.
Chief Monahan. It's Friday.
Okay.
At Karina's.
Karina's.
Because nothing says St. Patrick's Day like Karina's.
Sounds good. I'm sure they'll have something green.
Green conchas. Duh. Hello, it's so obvious.
And then Jeremy Lockwood was there, our battalion chief.
He's the battalion chief, yeah.
Yep. And he was there for the fire department, but didn't have any report for us.
He was probably terrified.
He probably was. Poor guy had to fill in for Lark.
Poor guy. Those are big shoes to fill.
Yeah. And then the donation of Crest Ultrasonics firearm cleaning and lubricating system, which is a heck of a name for a product.
Why?
And so this firearm cleaning and lubricating system was excess property that the village did not need any further. And usually we have our excess property auctioned off.
Yeah.
But this time we took the ultrasonic firearm cleaning and lubricating system and donated it to Libertyville.
Stop saying it.
So we,
oh my gosh.
when we get rid of excess property and we're giving it to another body, we have to vote on it. And then I'm guessing because it has to do with firearms and cleaning them and lubricating them, that we had to do I can't even say it without laughing now, a waiver of liability and a hold harmless agreement. So that had to come before the board.
Okay.
All right. So that was pretty much it. There was nothing from building, transportation, infrastructure, no weather reports, the omnibus items. There was some work being done for a Mundelein Gardens water main, Hammond Street parking engineering, and Granicus, which is our website and civic streaming, and
they do a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, all of our packets, all of that
things.
runs through Granicus. So that was our annual payment to them. We did have executive session, but there was no report from the attorney or the clerk. And executive session was for
minutes,
pending litigation, land acquisition or sale of property, and minutes.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah.
Okay, no action after it though.
No action after.
That was it.
That was it.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So we'll see you in the next episode, and go vote.
No, we'll have another episode before the election.
Well, they can
still vote. It's like early voting. Yeah.
Early voting starts next Monday.
Well, it already started.
It's already started at the county. So if
yeah.
you're at the courthouse, you can vote now, but it'll be open across the county. And remember that you can
on
vote
the 20th, right?
Yep, next Monday.
Wow.
You can vote at any early voting location in Lake County.
That's 5 days.
I know.
Wow.
Go vote.
Go vote. Okay.
All right.
See you next
We'll
time.
see you in the next episode. Bye.